That's just a quick video. I wanted to kind of address some issues that I've been facing and share some tips. The first one being how to manage your Lyme during times of high stress. One thing I have found out is that stress triggers a really high flare in symptoms for me. Extreme pain, joint swelling, memory loss, and lack of muscle control being the top ones. Some ways I manage my flares are, number one, I remember to cut myself a break. Everybody faces stress. Everybody has issues in their life that they have to deal with. Sometimes that stress can be really, really high. During those times, I have to remind myself, do what I can, don't worry about the rest of it. Let things go. That's the number one thing. I also have to remember not to beat myself up for being sick. I know a lot of us Lymies tend to deal with feelings of depression and guilt and shame and aggravation and frustration because we're limited in what we can do a lot of times. And just feeling bad about those things and constantly beating ourselves up for something we can't control only makes matters worse. Another thing I do is remember to pamper myself, and that may be simple things like remember treating myself to something special to eat, or taking extra naps, or taking extra showers, or getting a foot soak, or going to the gym and getting a massage. And that's something else I'm going to address in my next video. All of those things are important, but also it's also important to remember that for a lot of us, we're on special diets because we have bad reactions to things like dairy, gluten, sugar, and sometimes it can feel like deprivation, especially when the people around you are able to eat whatever they want to, and you're kind of over in the corner eating a specialized diet. What I have to remind myself is that it's not deprivation, it's nourishment. I'm feeding my body the things that it needs to get better and avoiding the things that keep it sick. I have to kind of look at it like I'm not ingesting poison, because for me, that's what a lot of those things are. Sugar is my number one enemy, not only because of the Lyme, but because I'm also a diabetic. And disease, any doctor will tell you, anybody that's a diabetic will tell you, disease grows in a sugary body. So the better I can control my blood sugar, which is extremely hard to do anyway, and very hard to do when you're a Lymie, the better I can control that, the better I nourish my body. And the best way I can do that is to avoid things like sugar, simple carbs, lots of sugary sweet fruits. I do eat fruit, but I eat largely citrus fruits and things that don't pack a huge punch on sugars. I read somewhere that grapes are really good for you. I can't eat grapes because they have so much sugar in them that it causes my sugar to go off the scale. Another thing, and this is something I just found out over the last 24 hours, well, not just found out, but kind of realized over the last 24 hours. We had some things happen yesterday that were extremely stressful and extremely detrimental to our lives, and just in the last 6 months, probably I don't have any friends. All of my friends, local friends, have fallen away. The family that I do have all lives in other states and are very far away and busy and have lives, and they don't have time to just, fly up here to see me. They don't have the money to do that either. So I'm alone a lot, and having a support group of some kind is extremely valuable. I found myself at about 1 o'clock this morning actually calling the suicide hotline. Not because I felt suicidal, but because I really needed to just vent. And I needed to do so in an audible way, because I don't have the capacity when I'm extremely stressed. That's when all of my symptoms really flare. And I don't have the capacity to just type out what I'm feeling or be in a text message with somebody. So having support is probably the key that I would recommend for anybody. Surround yourself with people who understand your illness even if it's, I have groups on Facebook that I belong to that I have come to cherish, because not because I built really close relationships with these people, but because we're all in the same boat and we all get it. You know, we understand what it feels like to be in constant pain. We understand the brain fog. We understand the fatigue. We understand the frustration and the anger and the guilt and the sadness and the devastation of it. So we can support each other in that way. That's really, really important. I would say that's probably key one to managing your Lyme during times of high stress. Anyway, I just wanted to post that brief video. I'm going to work on another video that really doesn't have a whole lot to do with Lyme in particular, but rather the goal behind why I started this whole thing to begin with. So, until then, peace out. So.